different generations hold different wounds around love. And within those wounds lie the very keys needed to unlock the divine union template for your unique soul. And by extension, to unlock the divine union template across your entire generation and across your ancestral line and across the entire collective of humanity at large. So after the past 5 or so years of having the privilege, the blessing of working with thousands of different people across different generations, I have identified some very, very clear patterns across generations that can help you to, one, completely dissolve shame around what might be your biggest core wounds regarding love, and two, that can help you bridge the gap between yourself and others. It can help you, number one, to understand yourself and to have more compassion for yourself and your soul's journey and the unique template that your soul chose to incarnate into, and also that of others, rather than allowing judgment of others and people of different generations, for example, to be separate from you. And in addition to this, I am very, very excited because the Golden Dragon Collective, which I'm channeling more and more frequently as Ascension amps up, they are coming in with messages and healing light codes and activations for each of these 4 generations that I'm going to put into the spotlight today. So know that as you listen to these words, you are also going to be receiving light codes, healing activations to help you heal those specific wounds. Likewise, also, this is so cool, but if you're like watching every single part, if you're watching for all the generations, just by virtue of association, others in your generational line, your ancestral line of these different generations are going to receive these healing codes as well. Wow. So I'm excited. I'm feeling the heat already. I don't know if you guys can feel it. This feels like a big, big video. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. And I've been procrastinating also for a very long time. And even when I made the decision that I was gonna do this video, still a lot of procrastination. That's how I know it's gonna be life-changing as fuck. That's how I know it's gonna be life-changing as fuck. So I'm excited to dive in. But first, for those of you who may not know me already, my name is Hannah and I empower you to empower yourself. And today, like I said, it's my intention to do that by helping you to dissolve shame around your love wounds, most importantly, to understand yourself better and to understand others better. And it's my hope that in watching this video and just absorbing, integrating these light codes, we can just dissolve these patterns once and for all. We can release them once and for all, and we can fully step into unity consciousness together. How does that sound? So before we dive into it officially, just some things to keep in mind, some guidelines to keep in mind. Number one, we are not doing this to create more separation. That's the last thing this planet needs. That's the last thing humanity needs. And unfortunately, probably you've seen it, you've experienced it. It's become so commonplace now to, have these different generations versus each other and have like comedy sketches and things around the different generations. And that's all well and good. That's good when it's done in good fun. But that said, that can also create like more and more separation across generations. That is not this video. That is not this message. This message is intended to do the opposite. It's to bridge the gap across generations rather than create more of a gap. And yeah, just like an example, because they want me to like ground this and make it personal and share a little bit of personal stuff about this, with also, I guess, some spoilers about some of the generational messages that are going to come through. So I myself am a millennial, and my parents are boomers, and then my grandparents are silent generation, I guess is what they're called. And for example, my whole life, I've basically been single, save like a 3 or 4 month stint with a karmic partner. Otherwise, I've been single, perpetually single. And this has been a big shame and a big wound for me. And I was judged heavily by my parents and my aunts and uncles and my grandparents about, oh, that girl, why is she still single? And they're wondering, like, why is she still single? What is wrong with her? Why is she single? This is not how it's supposed to be, basically. And likewise, I noticed myself over time also judging them and being like, why are they staying in these relationships that to me seem very, very toxic and constrictive? Like, why are they doing this to themselves? It did not make sense, and it created judgment. Like, I judged them probably as much as they judged me, to be completely honest. And there was like, you know, this tension between the generations, and it's certainly something I've seen repeated many times, like with people in my generation and the upper generations. And recently, I would say, like, in finding peace within myself around these patterns and like releasing these patterns, it softened that tension between the generations. And suddenly I was able to kind of see better, you know, these upper generations and what they've experienced, and have compassion for that and understanding rather than the judgment, and to recognize, you know, the unique things that they brought to the table in going through these things that I could never fathom, like putting myself through. And likewise, like I and people of my generation have done the same thing for them. So basically it's like we're all a team in this. We all have different puzzle pieces, and we're working together to put together that same puzzle. So remember, unity, not separation. That is the intention here with this video. Now, having said that, another caveat here is that you might not resonate with what is said about your generation. You might be, let's say, a boomer who resonates more with the Gen X template, you could say. You really aren't like locked into this. It doesn't mean like if you're born in a certain generation that you are locked into that. What it does tend to do is it shows patterns. These different generations, they each come with their own unique template set. You could say they are templates, and they come with these sets of patterns. And those patterns are what I've recognized now, like working with people across all these generations, having friends across all these generations. I recognize these patterns more and more to the point where they've become I haven't been able to ignore them. It's like they're just so glaringly obvious to me now. But know that it's like each soul is different. Each soul is an individual. And so you may have incarnated as a boomer, but you chose to experience more of the Gen X templates of energy, template of relationships for whatever reason. It's pick and choose. It doesn't mean your soul is locked in. So there's a lot of flexibility and fluidity across these, and that's a caveat. So keep in mind, I highly recommend watching them all and really sitting with your body and seeing which one resonates most. You might be surprised. I mean, hell, you might be like a Gen Z that resonates with the boomer template. I don't know, but like anything's possible here. So it's like, listen to them, listen to your body, see what resonates, what feels true for your body. And also know though, that there's usually like these people born in these certain generations, more often than not, a lot of those people tend to relate to these same patterns. And another thing that we want to note about Ascension and generations, and just like how we identify so strongly apparently in this modern age. I don't know if y'all have noticed this. I feel like generations weren't even like talked about much when I was a kid, but now with social media, it's like so in our faces about like these different generations and what they're all about and stuff. Just me, let me know. But it's to be known that as we ascend, we step into agelessness templates, okay? And so when we step into the agelessness templates, it literally like doesn't really matter anymore how old someone is. However, what generation they are of, that still plays an effect, because it's basically like showing, oh, I like incarnated in this generation. That means I incarnated with these particular patterns, this template, these themes as big themes. There are certainly themes and patterns shared across generations. And as we ascend more and more and more, and like age doesn't really become a thing, the generational templates will actually more and more be a thing, where we start identifying more with like, oh, I am a millennial rather than I'm 35 years old, because the generation defines more of like the energetic templates than your specific age, if that makes sense. It's literally like age is not going to matter at all sooner than we might expect. And I say that, I feel called to share that because I think that's also a huge part of healing these wounds around divine union for a lot of people. A lot of people feel like they're behind, don't you? Feel like they're late because you haven't found your person yet, or you wasted all this time with the wrong person, or you feel like you gotta have kids by X amount of time, by X age. No, your experiences, they're perfect for you. You have all the time in the world if you want to have all the time in the world, because not everyone is going to consent to the agelessness templates, but if you consent to it, you get to have that. And really, like, there's a lot of freedom and fluidity to be had there, and we're going to start seeing that over the coming years, the coming decades. So getting into these patterns and these messages now, we're going to start with Gen Z, and we're going to climb up the rungs until we end with the boomers. So, Gen Z. Gen Z. What I have observed about a lot of Gen Zs is there's just a lot of confusion and distortion, honestly, in these generations. So much confusion, so much distortion. And it's like when I'm tapping into this energy, it just feels like this fog of like really, not knowing what is right to do in dating, wrong to do in dating. Really, like, I think because the Gen Z generation grew up entirely with, social media and technology, there's like a veil there, which makes it hard to find authentic connection. And there's a lot of shallow connections I sense with like a lot of Gen Zs, and shallow relationships. But like there's this knowing too, because the Gen Zs come in with like less baggage than the older generations. So you're like maybe a bit more connected to your soul on average. And that they're like, you can have this like really authentic relationship, but you're not like seeing it. It's like, how do I even find this? I don't even know. And then there's like, I've noticed a lot of Gen Z like have already given up. They're like, nope, this is too much work, like dating apps, dating in general. It's too much work. Nope, I'm noping out, and I'm just going to, have my fantasies with my fictional characters, basically. So this is definitely a pattern of the Gen Zs of like noping out before they've even like jumped fully into the game. And also something I've noticed with a lot of Gen Zs is when I talk about divine union stuff and twin flame stuff, a lot of the Gen Zs in my community at least are like, Hannah, I'm not interested in this at all. Like, I don't think I'm going to be in partnership ever. I'm not interested in this. I don't think it's for me. And that's also a Gen Z template. It's part of the confusion, okay? It's part of the distortion that the Gen Zs are dealing with is, like wondering if it's even for you. And that's a good sign, okay? That's actually a good sign. Again, it's because you're kind of more connected with your soul. So in, I guess, authentic earth template, this is like the wording that wants to come through for this. Really, like, healthy relationships not really supposed to happen until after you've had your first Saturn return and completed your first Saturn return. The completion of one's first Saturn return, for those who aren't aware, it's an astrological transit. It happens between the ages of 30 and 33. So if you're like getting into relationships before that age, basically it's for exploration, but it's not necessarily like meant to be like your life partner, because the souls aren't like fully matured yet. Basically what the Saturn return marks is like coming of age. This is also something that society has all wrong. Society says, like, you're coming of age when you're 13, when you're 15, when you're 16, when you're 18, when you're 21, when you're 25, has all these different landmarkers that are all much younger than the actual like coming of age period. And anyone that has like gone past their Saturn return can probably tell you this. If you're a Gen Z watching this, a lot of like Gen Zs also, and just anyone of any generation, before they hit like 30-ish, there's like this fear of being old and thinking that it's so old, when you're like 30 plus. But actually that's like when your life really begins and you really start to know who you are, and therefore you can actually be in like a healthy divine counterpart relationship at that point. Before that point, it's okay that you don't give a fuck about like being in a relationship. Don't force that upon yourself. It's great. Your soul knows what it's doing. When it's meant for you, it will happen. And I can speak of like from experience for this one, because I also felt similar. Before I was like 29, 30, I was around the time of my Saturn return when I met my twin flame. That activated me all of a sudden. Oh, like I want to be in a relationship now. Like, oh, now I can see this is for me. Until that point, I identified as like asexual completely, had no desire to be in any relationship, thought I would be single for my whole life, just to be clear. And then like a switch flipped, around my Saturn return. And that's not going to be the case for everyone. I mean, the timing is different for everyone, but this is just like an example of what can happen. So that said, let's get to the Gen Z channeled message. Gen Zers. Your souls have been so authentic, so truthful, so bright. And yet you have been fed mountains of lies on who you are and what you're supposed to be, and timing. The expectations placed on your shoulders, the landmarks, the milestones, they have been completely unrealistic. Completely unrealistic. We ask you to remove the burdens from your shoulders, the mountains upon mountains of burdens upon your shoulders. To remove the mud-colored glasses on your face, your faces. You've been wearing glasses covered in mud, unable to see clearly. But your soul can always see clearly. If only you take off the glasses, all becomes clear. You know what is truthful for you. Do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. You know the truth deep down. You are being asked, Gen Z, to release all the bullshit that the others around you from both your generation and other generations, that they have fed you and they continue to feed you, the ways that they try to pull you down, keep you out of your truth. If you can follow your truth, if you can follow your compass, you will find the relationships that are meant for you. And they are there. You will not be alone forever. You are not meant to be alone forever. This is not a prison planet. Not anymore. You're meant to co-create. It will be beautiful when you step into co-creation. You do not need to force the timing. Simply trust the divine timing. Trust yourself. Allow yourself to guide you. And know that you struggle in relationships. Perhaps you don't wish for relationships because your soul knows a greater love than you have witnessed on this planet at this time. Your soul knows, and it cannot forget. It will not let you forget. And sometimes that feels like a curse, but we wish to let you know this is the cure, in fact. Embrace that, trust that, choose that. Know that if you hold to that standard of what you believe true, you are not asking for too much. You are literally creating the new earth. So allow yourself to be the builders now of this new earth through your own authenticity. We burn away illusion and allow you to see the truth once more, to feel it in your bodies. You have always been worthy. You have always been love. That was powerful. I feel this is going to be a long video, I sense. We're just one down. We got 3 more to go. That was powerful. Wow, I can already feel that. And I'm sensing, again, know that regardless of what generation you're in, probably there's like little bits and pieces in each of these for your soul, regardless. And I'm curious to hear if you are in the Gen Z template, you could say. If you're in the Gen Z generation, does the Gen Z template that came through today, does that resonate on any level with you? Now there's a bit of resistance because this is my home turf template here. And I'm afraid of what they're going to say, how they're going to call us out. All right, so millennials, what have I noticed? Being a millennial, being very intimate with this generation because it's my generation. I think what a lot of millennials experience is this singledom, really. It's like this singledom. It's so prevalent in our generation. It's mind-blowing to me. Actually, I used to think, for example, that it was just me and that I was a weirdo. And as I've gotten more open about it and I talk to more people about it, like, there are so many people in the millennial generation that like have literally never been in a relationship, period. And if you're there in the audience, represent. And so this is, I think, one of the biggest relationship themes for the millennial generation is just perpetual singledom, or like long stretches of singledom. I also know millennials that maybe, they did have like 1 or 2 relationships that were short-lived or a long time ago, but it's still like very long stretches of singledom and just celibacy and feeling like a monk, essentially. I think there's a lot of pressure on millennials right now, given the point we are, like the ages we are now, because again, based on the old templates, we're feeling the pressure to have kids now, or to have our shit together, you could say, to get married, to have kids. And if it's still not happening for you, you might really be feeling like, I'm behind. And that's huge for the millennials, feeling like late bloomer, like you're behind, seeing other people, get their shit together while you still haven't had firsts that like many people have had many firsts of. And yeah, I think also the millennials, what have I witnessed? Like a lot of millennials, again, it's similar. There's going to be some bleeding between the generations, especially between, I would say, Gen Z and millennial, Gen X and boomer. But there's also like this thing with millennials too. We've had social media and stuff for a good part of our lives. And we have some of that fog and confusion that the Gen Zs have, and like dating apps and just feeling like, but feeling like you have to use the apps and like there's no other way, but feeling like really repulsed by that. That's also something that I see a lot. And I think ultimately, if I could sum up the millennial template here from what I've witnessed, it's kind of like being just starving in a desert and dying of thirst, being dehydrated in a desert. And it's like you just can't click with people. Even if you do go on many dates, you just can't click, and you might start to feel like, hey, can anyone actually like match me? Or am I just a freak? Am I just weird? And yeah, that's it's a lot to be carrying. And I think the millennials, again, like I said, it's a very crucial period for millennials in relationship template stuff because of traditional expectations around timing. And I think this is maybe the biggest shame. Truly, like I think millennials like wouldn't be suffering so much from this if we were an agelessness template already. Like more millennials would be like, oh, it's fine, I can take as long as I want to find my person. I like being single, actually, it's up and be embracing it. But it's like the age thing is really starting to feel like shackles, like a cage. Yeah, it's like even bigger than shackles. It's like a cage. Let's channel for the millennials. Hello, millennials. If you felt like the odd duck, the odd one out, if you felt like there's something wrong with you, we wish you to know that yes, you are different. And what makes you different is your purity. You have a purity to your energy that is unable to be corrupted. And the world really needed and needs that purity and that high vibrational energy. It needs it to be untainted. If you were to be in many relationships, if you were to be in any relationship in some cases, if you were to be giving yourself away freely sexually, you would be tainting this pure energy. And so if you felt cursed, if you felt like it's impossible for you to get into a real relationship, know that it's because your soul has been protecting you from tainting your energy. It's been very intentional. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not behind, and this does not mean that this will always be the case. It's just a different template than what you may be seeing in the overculture. And we wish you to know that all of you that have been being kept pure, you could say, have been prepared for these divine counterpart relationships. It's as if you have been in an internship, you could say, your entire lives, preparing to become this building block in this divine counterpart relationship for the new earth. And you've needed to keep your vessel pure, and you've needed to get very clear on who you are and to stay in your own energy in order to really become a strong, potent building block when the time came. And that time is coming now. And we also wish you to know, and we will remind you, you have all the time in the world. You have all the time in the world. You are not behind. Your biological clock doesn't exist. That is a construct of the false matrix meant to keep you as slaves. Literally, you can think of yourselves as cattle, as livestock kept by the false matrix, meant to breed by a certain age and just breed. And this is how humanity has been brainwashed to live. You came to break that very template, because in truth, when humans are in touch with their 12-strand DNA, when they are embodied in their crystalline diamond frequency bodies, there is no biological clock. There is no aging. It doesn't exist. So know that that's a huge part too of exactly what you came here to break. You're kind of proving a point by being a late bloomer here. And so a late bloomer does not mean a never bloomer. And when you bloom, that is going to be magic indeed. Know it is soon time for you. So trust the process. And trust that the wait will be worth it.
Yala kedara kutala ekutala 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 atala iya atala iya uamwe Muisei ate akuya.
You are almost there. I'm curious, if y'all resonate with that. Represent in the comments, And we'll move on to the next one. Gen X. So a lot of the Gen Xers have had relationships. A lot of them, have had at least like one marriage. And I think in a lot of the cases, what I've seen, a lot of Gen Xers, usually there is like one significant marriage that they've had. And usually also that one significant marriage was completely traumatizing and toxic. And oftentimes, like what I've noticed with a lot of the Gen Xers is like, most of them, I would say at this point, have like let go of that marriage and are now on their own and are like, I'm never doing that again. Like, I'm gonna be single the rest of my life, and happily so, because the marriage was so traumatic. And like I would say the Gen Xers, they tend to have had like a lot of other, not necessarily like a lot, I don't feel like a lot, but like other relationships as well. And it's like, none of them have been even remotely good. Like none of them have been even remotely like what your soul knows you're capable of experiencing. And so again, it's just like this doneness that I sense with a lot of Gen X, where they're just like, what's the point? I'm just gonna choose myself because this is torture. I'm not gonna put myself through this torture anymore. Clearly every single time I try to connect with people this way, it just becomes a whole lot of drama. I don't need that drama anymore. And so there's that, but also, I mean, this is very similar actually to the boomer template, but the difference is that I would say a lot of Gen Xers also, though, it's like this this bipolar energy of yeah, they're like on one hand done, but on the other hand they want it so bad, like, because it's possible, you just want it so bad, like you're so ready, your soul's so ready for the co-creation at the same time, but it feels like so scary and like risky to like let yourself have that because of your experiences so far have told you maybe otherwise, that it's not possible to have. So there's like there's this tug of war, I think, with the Gen Xers that I don't really recognize as strongly as in the other generations. Every generation has this to an extent, but I recognize it the strongest in the Gen Xers. And I would say the reason why, like, there's still this part of you that's not giving up hope. This is also something in the Millennials, by the way. The Millennials and the Gen Xers, like, just collectively together, I think they have the most hunger for a relationship now, a divine counterpart relationship right now. And the reason for that is because they are like maybe ready to experience it, like they're like just on the precipice of it. So it's, I literally am getting like this imagery, this analogy of like an oven. It's like they've been baking in the oven and now it's like it's ready, it's time to bring them out of the oven. Just in contrast, like the Gen Zs, generally they have a little bit more maturing to do, a little bit more life experience before they're gonna come out of the oven. And the boomers, they need more time to recover from their traumatic relationships and like purify their energy before they're gonna be ready to come out of the oven, if you will. But the Millennials and the Gen X's, they're kind of like there. So I've noticed that, yeah, both of these generations have been feeling just like, oh, like I want it so bad. And they're feeling so especially angsty about like being single and their relationship patterns because they're right like on the door. They're right on the precipice of stepping into these divine counterpart relationships. Again, not every single person in these generations is following this pattern. And likewise, it doesn't mean, you know, if you're a Gen Z or a boomer, you're not also like right on the door, because there are quite a few Gen Zs and boomers that are ready to step into the divine counterpart template as well. It's just an overarching umbrella, an overarching pattern. Okay, oh, they want to come through with the message. All right, let's go. Gen Xers. You are being asked to let yourself love again. Let yourself love again. Let yourself love again. If you close the heart, it will never happen. If you at least open the heart, there's a chance that it will happen, and it will. And this is your message. We want you to know it is happening as we speak. It is happening. You've had to detox a little bit, purify your vessel, but likewise, your partners, your divine counterparts, they've been doing the same. And you're just about ready to come together from mutual understanding. Know that it gets to be different now. You are not the same person that entered that relationship, those relationships. You have changed, have you not? You have grown, you have learned, you have standards now. You are choosing yourself. Congratulations, you are choosing yourself. Now, because you're really truly choosing yourself, now and only now can another really truly choose you too. And they will. because it's a natural extension of you choosing yourself. And we wish you to know if it is not happening right away, it's not happening in the time that you wish it to, it's because, one, you're being asked to love yourself a little bit more, spend more time with yourself, get to know yourself a little bit better. Perhaps you haven't had time. If you've had many relationships or long-term relationships and very little time single, you might need more time to be single so that you can truly know yourself and bring that to this divine counterpart relationship. And likewise, on the other hand, it might also be that you're still just grieving old connections and old relationships, and that needs to be completely cleared before you enter into this divine counterpart template. So just be gentle to yourself, give yourself time, and we'll tell you, just as we told the millennials, time does not exist. The biological clock does not exist. Your dreams are possible. If you feel you missed the boat for having children, let's say, and even your biological clock has reflected that back to you, biological clock, we wish you to know that it's reversible and that it's still very possible for you to have children. If it's on your heart to have children, to give birth, literally, not even just through adoption, to literally give birth, it's still possible for you. We feel there are a few that really needed to hear that and receive that. It's still possible for you. Anything is possible. We ask you to hold to that truth. You are not limited. You are an unlimited being of light. When you've hit resistance in the past, in past relationships, in your own life, with your family, with your career, it's because you were bringing light into those spaces, and it was hitting against the walls, the oppressive, dark, heavy walls of the false matrix. But those walls don't exist anymore. They're a thing of the past. All we are experiencing now are the echoes of those walls. And so the more you can trust what you've always believed to be true, the more it gets to become true now. Yes, you were held back, you could say, for a time. You were in the false matrix before, but the false matrix literally does not exist in present time. And so things get to be different now. You finally get to have that love that you have always craved and you've always known deep in your soul is for you. Do not let that go. Never let that go. It gets to be yours.
Yassi, yassi, yassa. Utana yesakatalaktia. Asia, 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 asia. Asia, asia. Amwe, ya te, ya te, ya te, ya te, ya. Asuya. Asuya mamwisi si mwisi atalaisa iyatana 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 iya iya iya.
All right. So, Gen X represent. Let us know. Did you resonate with that? Did you feel that? I'm super curious. And with that, we're moving into the boomers. Boomer energy now. Okay, so yeah, the boomers, it's very similar to what was just spoken about for the Gen X template, but it's like more intense. It's more intense. So what I've seen with a lot of boomers is that, they didn't really get a chance to know themselves, because basically they were kind of like forced, you could say. Of course they're not forced. Of course everyone's got free will, but society was so pressuring back in the day people to be in relationships and get married and have kids really, really early before they have their Saturn return, by the way, which is before they're like a mature adult in and of themselves. And so the boomers, more than any of the other generations, were deprived the opportunity to know themselves. and were kind of just forced into relationships before they even had a chance to know themselves. And many boomers, like, you know, they just stayed in that same relationship their entire lives. Maybe there were some divorces, but a lot of boomers, like, there weren't a lot of like long stretches necessarily of singledom. There's a lot of codependence. That's what I feel like. I think the boomers really were like on the front lines of starting to address codependence as an energy. And so even, you know, if there was like divorce and stuff, there's still codependent ties there that need to be worked through. And I think a lot of boomers, it's like what I've seen with a lot of boomers, speaking of patterns that I've recognized, so many of them like are just now getting divorced after so many years of being in this one relationship, and they're just now like getting divorced, or they've gotten divorced somewhat recently within the past 10 years, or maybe they're still married and they're like, this is not doing it, I need to get a divorce. Like they're ready to get a divorce. And then what's happening I see with a lot of the boomers is they get the divorce, they're off on their own, they're like, holy shit, who am I? I don't even know who I am, because they were brainwashed to, especially, like I would say especially the women, were brainwashed to give everything to everyone else. So to give everything to your kids, everything to your partner, everything to the community. And it's like, you put yourself last. Like you were trained to put yourself last, especially if you're a woman boomer. That's like probably like the most susceptible to this particular pattern. We all have it to different degrees. This is just a false matrix template, but that's like the most vulnerable to this particular template. And so now, like, many boomers, ironically, are like in this same zone as the Gen Zs because many of the boomers, but it's like a different thing. Like the boomers, you know, they've had so many adventures, you could say, in relationship and stuff. And they're just like, shit, I just want to know who I am now. Like, who am I? And they're on this journey of self-discovery, like finding, you know, if you're a boomer, like what you really like to do, what really lights you up, what you enjoy, and like actually giving yourself permission to do that. And so I notice a lot of the boomers, they don't have any desire to be in relationship because it's like they've been even more burned than these Gen X's I talked about last time. And it's just like, they can't even consider that. It's like relationship for a lot of boomers is associated with like the false matrix and slavery and like just feeling miserable and not knowing yourself. And so, yeah, like boomers are really just like, no, I just want to be on my own. And another pattern with a lot of the boomers then is like, they feel that this is it for them because, you know, they're reaching the end of what, again, with all this BS around the biological clock, what we're told is like how long humans are allowed to live. They're reaching the end of that and supposedly the end of their lives. And so they're thinking, well, this is it for me. You know, I'm just going to be single until I die. And this is just it for me. And yeah, this miserable life is all I get. No, no. I just want to, before the golden dragons even come in for the channeling, I just want to say, like, you get to start anew. And I do see this with some boomers. Like, I see it, you know, I've seen it with some clients. I've seen it with my parents and stuff. They're actually finding that life is beginning now because they've left behind all these karmic relationships. And finally, after all these decades, they get to like find themselves. And yeah, so it's like your life gets to begin now. If you're a boomer, actually, like it was all just prep. And really, this is the case for anyone watching this video at this time, regardless of your generation. Your mind, your ego is going to tell, oh, it's been so long that I've been struggling with these patterns. Oh, woe is me. It was all prep work. Like, you know, that you were putting in some hard labor to prepare you for this amazing new earth life in this amazing divine counterpart relationship. So know that. So yeah, a lot of boomers, you know, okay, if I could sum it up, boomers are having a glow up. a lot of boomers are having a glow up right now, and they're in the process of having a fucking a glow up right now. You could even say like a midlife crisis is what we used to say, right? But it's like an end of life crisis, but it's not, because it's just the beginning of an entirely new life. And I think many boomers, you're gonna find that, you know, your lives up until this point, maybe there is a sort of death involved, because your lives up until this point, those are gonna feel like past lives, where you're going and moving into. So that said, let's call in the golden dragons. We thank you for your service. You have put in the most time, linear time, on this planet in dense energies. We wish you to have compassion with yourselves, because you've been holding much more density than the younger generations. If you look at the younger generations, and you are surprised at how quickly they're figuring things out, and maybe even feeling a bit envious towards these younger generations, because wow, they figured things out much quicker than you and avoided things. Know that that's their template and this is yours. And we honor you. We thank you for your service. Your suffering has been witnessed and received, and it served a purpose. Your template, you came to like break the ground. Your generation was the first real generation to come in after World War II, which was a huge turning point for all of the cosmos, all of the galaxy. This is when starseeds really started to incarnate on Earth in droves to change the course of humankind. And you were there. You were the brave souls on the very front lines that came in and said, yes, I will help alchemize this density. So we see you, we honor your service, we thank you. And we know you get a lot of shit from the collective at large at this time. And we wish you to know that you are loved and you are seen. And we see you, we see all of your struggles. And the struggles will be worth it. We also wish you to know that you have all the time in the world now, to start fresh and to have an entirely new life. And we ask you to let that be possible now. Give yourself permission to have that now. You get to have that. If you can dream it, you can create it, you can receive it, you can experience it. It would not be on your heart if it was not possible to experience in this life. So know that you did not come to this life to just be miserable and die. You came to this life to alchemize and to turn the tables at just the perfect timing. And so we wish you to know that you are loved and you are supported in this new cycle that you're now entering. And this cycle will be a much happier one, a much lighter one, a much brighter one. And you get to have everything that you wish that you could have had when you were younger. You basically get to have a second youth now if you wish. And many of you will start to even look much younger. You will be able to adjust your appearance to whatever age you wish to appear, really. And you can experience whatever you wish to experience now. Your own imagination is truly the only limit here. And so we wish you too to know that you get to be in divine partnership as well. It's not just something for the younger generations. It's not too late for you. You get to have this too. Remember when you were young, before all the trauma truly set in, before all the relationships. Remember the type of relationship that you dreamed of back when you were a child. Go back to that space and know that you get to have that and so much more, because the world we live in now is much lighter and much brighter than that world that you lived in as a child. And now it is possible. It wasn't possible back then. It is possible now to have those things that you dreamed of, and so much more than you could have even fathomed back then. So we ask you to just dream big and to take this time now. If you are experiencing the aftermath of a relationship loss, whether through death or divorce, to just fully grieve that first, and then second, take some time to be single and really get to know yourself now. Really put yourself as number one. Let yourself be number one in your life. Get to experience what that's like. And know that you're not wasting time if you do that, because you get to have it all now. If you wish for it, you get to have it all. You get to have a new lease on life. It is never too late. We love you. We honor you. Thank you for your service once more.
Yasana. Yasanaya. Ooya, ooya, ooya.
All right, so that was that. I'm curious, boomers, represent. Did that speak to you? Did that speak to your soul? And so, no, I guess this is already going to be probably the longest video I've ever done, and we'll let it be what it needed to be. But what I will say is that remember that the wound here, your core wound in relationships around love, around this divine union, that core wound, it's also the gift. The antidote is actually in the poison. The antidote is in the poison. Ooh, I got chills. I don't know. I feel like that means a lot. It's meant to activate a lot. It's kind of abstract for a reason. It's meant to activate something. The antidote is in the poison. And so it's time now to become the antidote. You don't have to be the expression of the poison anymore. You get to be the antidote now. It's time. It's time. And so, yeah, I'm curious also, like I said, if you didn't resonate with the message for your generation in time, which one of these templates did you most resonate with? How about this? You let me know, which generation were you born into, and then which template resonated the most. And if none of the templates resonated, what would you say is your core wound on love? Perhaps I can do future videos talking about other core wounds if other ones are coming up, because certainly too, it doesn't mean that every person in Gen Z is going to experience what I just described today. Not every millennial, not every Gen Xer, not every boomer is going to resonate with this. There are other templates actually at play in those generations too. These are just, each one is just a single template, associated with a single generation. This is just the tip of the iceberg, they're telling me. So if there's any other patterns that I'm noticing in the comments around love wounds, relationship wounds that people are experiencing, yeah, feel free to share what's on your heart. And ultimately, my goal here, my intention here is that you start to, again, dissolve that shame. Know that you're not alone. There's others. And maybe by sharing your story in the comments, you might actually inspire people that were so shameful, thought they were the only ones, and then they see your comment and they're like, oh my gosh, someone else, at least one other person in the world is experiencing the same thing as me. Wow, I'm not alone. And that alone is healing. That alone is healing. So that is something you can do for the collective at large, is just share a little bit of your experience in your core wounds. Let's get real with each other. Let's create a little community here in the comments. And no, if you want to go deeper with some of this stuff, I invite you to join my House of the Spirit Dragon community. We've done a lot of deep work around this divine union stuff at this point. And at this point, we're meeting every month and we do different kinds of energy healing work, but it's really helpful regardless of our intentions. It's all meant to serve your ascension and help you release wounds like the ones talked about today. So if you're resonating with me and my energy and the golden dragons and what's been coming up here, would love to vibe with you in that private community. That would be lovely. So I'll put the link in the comments. So to each and every one of you, like, keep on keeping, man. Keep on keeping, my friends. It's rough out there in relationships, and I know a lot of people are feeling very hopeless regardless of which template you're on. So many people just feel so hopeless about relationship right now. And know that if you are in a relationship, you can actually transform that. I think some people also might be surprised that, like, they're in a relationship and maybe it transforms. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to become this divine counterpart relationship, and then all of a sudden it does because you guys are healing these wounds. So know that as well, because I think a lot of the templates that came up today are specifically templates for people that are like single or are about to be single. So but if you're already in a relationship, it's a totally different ball game oftentimes. So with that said, let's end it. Know that I'm sending you so much love, and so are the golden dragons. You are so seen, you are so loved. This all isn't going to be in vain, okay? It's going to be worth it. We promise. Much love to you, my friends. Stay powerful.